they beat out competition from the likes of Catalan Dragons, who were keenly interested in him, and I think Hull were another team looking around him after Vanua's going and that sort of stuff. So well done to Wakefield. Good deal for a good player. I mean, if you look at Benjamin Bishop's record this year, it's been outstanding for him.
Yes, and he's playing in a club that's on the up as well. So apart from, none of the clubs you mentioned that we're interested in would really be appealing, I would say. Maybe Hull, but the Wakefield journey and the art that they're on at the moment must be really exciting for the young men that ply their trade down at Tritton. So I can see why he's signed for that line.
Yeah, a long-term deal when they don't have a ground for next year is a. But yeah, there's lots. But on the field, the side's going great guns. So I understand why you want to be a part of it.
Definitely, there you go.
Swinton have been issued with a winding up petition, apparently.
Although according to the club, they've now sorted that out. Right.
Well, the hearing's next Monday, isn't it? Scheduled for. So obviously these stories are developing as we go. I hope things are all right, because I'm a big fan of what Swindon are up to. Maybe the Wigan Cup game has helped them settle any bills they had to pay.
Possibly so.
Yeah.
Possibly so.
Should have put some money in the coffers. Danny Orr, Ryan Sheridan and Cooper, whose first name I didn't write down and don't know off the top of my head, but they're the coaches at Cass who've all signed 3-year extensions, sort of in line with their boss Darryl Powell as well. So stability in the off-the-field group there. I don't know when someone's going to come having a word with Orr or Sheridan for a head coach's job, though.
No, well, I think they're all part of a very settled team there, aren't they? And there's not a lot of better people to be learning your trade off than Darryl Powell, is there? So sponge and soak it all up for as long as you possibly can. I don't know when someone's going to talk to Ryan Sheridan about that stupid fucking hat. It looks like an extra hat. It looks like bloody Dingle out of Emmerdale.
Well, the summer's really going to start to hit soon, so we'll see if he's still going to be wearing it.
But he's like a capuchin monk underneath it and he doesn't show it off?
No, I think he's... you know that thing where they say if you don't wash your hair for 6 months, it starts washing itself?
Right.
I think he's working on that.
I think times are that hard in the Sheridan household?
No, I just think he's doing it to be a bit all middle-aged emo or whatever's going on with him.
Do you think he skateboards to the ground?
I can't explain, yeah. I'm struggling for another explanation. So we don't want to take it off because his hair's all developing into ready to be washed.
Well, maybe he's just always late for training and he has to dye it a multitude of colours and now he has to keep it under wraps just to not look stupid.
Well, the bits you can see look stupid.
They do. Yeah, I don't get it.
For a man of his age.
Exactly. At your age, Ryan. Right, and finally...
Hold on.
Oh no, have you got more?
Mark Flanagan has apparently got a new deal at Salford, but not much details out on that yet.
There you go. Well, we'll stay with Salford and finally then, Marcus, they've confirmed that £29,000 was raised for the support fund for the victims of the Manchester attacks at last Friday's game against the Catalan Dragons. The game was free to enter, with spectators given the opportunity to make a voluntary donation inside the stadium. CEO Ian Blees said he was delighted with the response to the fundraising appeal. I'd like to thank everyone who donated on Friday. He told the club's official website it was a fantastic atmosphere on the night and the rugby league community has shown a huge display of strength and support for the victims of the terrible attacks. Yes, a fantastic gesture from the club and everyone who went down that night.
Yeah, great show of support and solidarity.
There you go. So that's the news from around the world.
Did you watch the concert?
Because we're talking about something quite sombre, I'm going to restrain myself and get upset with you for interrupting my segue again. I saw pieces of the concert.
I thought it was really well put together.
I've heard it was very poignant. I flicked back and forth to it to watch bits and pieces, but I find it quite tough viewing in some respects as well. To be
low
honest.
light Bieber talking about God highlight everything else about the show.
Yeah.
I thought it was really well put together. And yeah, like you say, it was emotive at times, but it was.
That was a perfect tribute. It's a wonderful idea.
The ideas of community and solidarity.
Absolutely.
And, face this by not being afraid to live our lives in the way that we want to. I thought for a young lass, Ariana Grande did a great job.
I must admit, the bits that we did flick onto, we ended up catching a bit of Ariana Grande and the poise of that young woman. Not to take anything away from any young woman of that age, but it was particularly impressive to see a woman who's gone through that level of guilt that I think she must be feeling, quite unnecessarily, but her poise in performing and coming back and giving something to that community, I thought was wonderful as well.
One of the young...
Because I think we think that these people are bomb-proof sometimes, and actually 23 is really quite young in a lot of respects. So fair play to her for being as composed as she was, I would have said.
One of the young fans who went to the gig that's of the attack and then went to this one as well was interviewed beforehand, I saw, and they said something along the lines of, I didn't want to not be able to leave an Ariana Grande concert feeling like happy and that I'd enjoyed the occasion, and I didn't want to be afraid either, and that sort of stuff. So very good stuff.
Very positive messages to us all. Right, that is definitely the news from around the world of rugby league. Let's take a look back now at round 17 of Super League. Okay, so to round 17 of Super League then. We'll start on Friday night at a wet and windy Headingley Market. It was Leeds Rhinos 22, Leeds Centurions 14 in front of 13,445 people. James Child was referee.
Yeah, Richard Wilkinson said, Brian Mack said it perfectly. This game was very poor, like many this weekend. Win or lose, you can't blame the players. The game has lost its way. Mark, you had some strong opinions on the second double up this season. I totally disagree. We have full knowledge of head trauma and fatigue. Easter must go. We only have it as Super League is piss weak. We put player welfare behind gate receipts and incompetent promotion of the game. Leeds v Lee is more proof that this should never happen again. Should not happen at all, and Easter is gross negligence, however you dress it up.
There you go, 2 sets of strong opinions there.
Well, I didn't know I had strong opinions on the double header.
I think you said just this time. Well, I think it's the fact that there was a double header, and your point was, well, let's not get up in arms over the fact that there's 2 in such quick succession, because the second one isn't going to happen again. But I think there is a broader conversation to be had about the Easter weekend as well.
Yeah, certainly.
Do you see what I mean?
I like the Easter weekend. Player welfare being what it is. These players also need, their welfare will be shit if they couldn't afford to pay the mortgages, and things like Easter very much help Super League, whether you say it's because of the competition being shit or the RFL being shit or whatever, or the fans being shit and not going to all the games or not putting, I don't know, many reasons why we don't get enough money through the gates and through the tills and into the coffers and all of that. But Easter helps for clubs, it really does. And it's planned out. They won't play before, they'll play Thursday or Friday the week before, and then you'll play Thursday or Friday that week, you'll play Monday, and then you'll play Saturday, Sunday. So it's stretched out for as long as it can be, really.
Yeah.
This time around, this one not worked the same way, because you had the Magic weekend and the second one is no good, and I'm not supporting it in any way.
You weren't.
So I don't know. So the second, my strong opinion of it is there's been a bit of an overreaction, like it's a normal thing that happens every year, and the second double up isn't a normal thing. I'll tell you what happens every year.
That was the point you made last week.
I'll tell you what happens every year. People play on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday after they played Origin on a Wednesday, the most intense game in the sport. That to me, that blows my mind that happens. I know that they get like a 10-day lead up usually to the Origin game, but then within 4 days, people are playing twice, three times a year. Your best players in Australia still win World Cups with that happening. So people saying England can't win a World Cup because the players are tired because of a double header. No, it's because we play 31 games.
Yeah.
It's because we try and cram this massive long season in. That's why our players have the fatigue issues and the tiredness issues and that sort of thing. This doesn't help that, but the problem is the length of our season compared to the Aussies, not these double headers, because their best players back up 3 times a year in the middle of the season. Okay, they might get more rests around that. That's because of the way the league's structured.
So we can't better league structure.
Unfortunately, we can't afford it. We don't have the finances. We don't have the fans turning up. I mean, this game and Wigan's game at Hull, reasonable crowds. Cass, pretty decent crowd, but
Cass are hamstrung by the amount of people they can physically fit into a ground.
You look at Well, they could have fit 2,500 more in this game this game for this crowd. But Salford, Widnes, not good enough crowds and Huddersfield pretty low for supporting
Super League sides.
If we want the quality, and then we want all the other stuff that comes alongside it, the youth development, the players being produced, the high calibre of entertainment, bringing in star players from overseas, all of that. It's sad that we're in that situation. I don't think removing Easter would make a massive difference. I get the player welfare arguments. I certainly would not want a second doubleheader weekend every year, and I would not want it how it's had to be done this year with it squashed in after a Magic weekend. That doesn't sit right at all. No. But yeah, I think let's recognise that it was a one-off and trust that the clubs will make enough of a point about it not being worth it because of the England camp being cancelled anyway, that we won't get it again. I think that was my point. So I'm sorry if it came across something else, although I suppose he's then going on to talk about Easter and stuff, and he obviously clearly has a different view to me on that. Fair enough, Rich. That's what
there you go.
Makes all this exciting.
Right, Mick Phillips at macho_Mick said, garbage, enough said. One would have to assume he's a Lee fan, but perhaps not.
Well, I think the whole...
Neither side have any reason to be proud of themselves, do they?
Chris Guy at Guy said, tough game in tricky conditions, but we held on for the win.
And the final word on this one goes to Cutthroat. Jake, has someone told the Lee team that the only way to win a match is through 2 falls or a submission? Yeah. Lee in discipline cost result. Shocker. Look, it was a greasy, horrible night. Errors were high. Penalties were even higher. Lee were on the wrong end of it, and they did themselves absolutely no favours by getting Antonio Maria and the other one whose name escapes me sent to the bin for 10 minutes apiece, so 20 minutes they were missing key players, and they only lost by 8 points. So the first thing that it begs the question for me, take nothing away from Leeds' result, is that how much better could Lee have done in a scrappy occasion on a dirty night when actually a bit of umpy jumper hard-working rugby league might have paid off for them? How much... It
was Dane Weston.
Thanks. How much closer to getting a win away at Leeds and 2 vital competition points might they have been if they kept their discipline? But this has been Leeds' problem. I'm not even calling it Leeds' problem. This has just been the way they've set out all season long. So yes, I almost don't feel sorry for them. But it is a case of what might have been.
The last quarter of the game, they were 2 scores down for the whole last quarter of the game. That last try was scored in the last minute.
But it all has an impact in terms of the extra work that your forwards have to put in and the use of your interchange bench and things like that if you're a man down for 20 minutes for a quarter of the match to be a man down.
Yeah, and Leeds in a weird way got lucky, didn't they, with their bench, because they had a winger on the bench but that would have been weird, but they got an injury in the backs and they shuffled the pack and Moon had to go into the halves again and that sort of thing.
And he secretly loves being a half back, doesn't he?
And it worked out well. Of course he does. Yeah, he gets his hands on the ball more. He likes to throw his arm around all over the show and then offload loads. He's an entertaining player to watch.
Well, he's not their top scorer for nothing, is he? Fair enough. But take nothing away from Leeds. It was always going to be whichever team plays the conditions best, and I think you look at some of the try scorers.
By the way, Leeds didn't have to play this game on Friday night. It wasn't a game selected for television. No contractual obligation. The only thing I can think is there was a Roses game, wasn't there, at the weekend at some point?
No, cricket.
Yeah.
Right.
But I don't know where that was played.
No. 50-50 shot that it wasn't at Headingley.
No, it wasn't at Old Trafford, was it?
Of course not. Well, probably at Headingley then, wasn't it?
Well, it might have been at an outground because it was a Whites game.
Oh, right, yeah. Sometimes we have to weird places, don't they? Yeah. We're really at the bleeding edge of my cricket knowledge, mate.
Yeah.
Really are at the very...
To be honest, if your internet was working, I'd fact check this one because I can't remember.
You've got data on your phone.
I read about it when I was drunk and then forgot to work out and understand where it actually was. But so maybe that was a factor. I don't know. But yeah.
But look at some of the try scorers. Cuthbertson bagged 2 tries, didn't he? So from Leeds' game plan, a fair bit of crash ball up the jumper sort of stuff as well. It was a dirty night with a bit of rain. So I would say Lee let themselves down as much as Leeds did enough to get the victory in that one. What do you reckon?
What were the nature of the tries? I mean, it looks, from what I remember of the highlights,
Cuthbertson's were typical Adam Cuthbertson tries are exactly what you would expect.
Leeds were more out wide, and
Although Matty Dawson bagged a couple for them.
And whereas Leeds were able to break through the middle as well.
This is it. Leeds dominating through the middle, only exacerbated by only underlined